Communication technology, a study of its evolution and impact. Communication technology refers to all forms of technology used to disseminate information to people through telecommunications, broadcast media, and transmission systems. Evolutionary developments of communications technology. In order to obtain a broader understanding of communications technology, some insights into its history would help. The earliest forms of communication date back in 35th century BC, where ancient civilizations, such as the Sumerians, inscribed cuneiform scripts onto clay tablets which were used to convey specific words and ideas. It was in 105 AD when a Chinese official, Cai Lun, invented papers and tools for people to write better on smooth surfaces. This enabled messages to be written more efficiently and allowed for easier delivery over long distances. By 1843, Samuel Morse invented telegrams which allowed messages to travel over long distances. This laid the foundation for analog signals, and by the 1870s, the first telephone was invented.
Communication technology has evolved within the last century, so much so that the devices from 50 years ago seem primitive. The 60s were a period where global communication was revolutionized by STD and satellite technology, where it instigated major changes in telephone communication. In the 70s, social practices continued to influence by new technological advances. Computers were just beginning to be used by everyday businesses, thus having the first internet connection documented and also the invention of floppy disks. The 80s were a really important decade because it signaled the start of the computer age. The 90s were the era of the new online world innovation and changed interactions on an international scale. This includes the invention of fiber optic, the World Wide Web, the first version of Internet Explorer. As of now, technology has paved the way for working far more flexibly and productively. In order to understand how modern-day communication technology came to be, an investigation as to its derivative technologies might help, which would include print, signal, and digital technology.
That has made knowledge and information accessible to the masses. It began with the first major advancement of woodblock printing. The technique was invented in 200 BC and originated in China. It aimed to print text and patterns on textiles and paper. In 1450 AD, print technology once again underwent an evolution when movable type mechanical printing technology was created by Johannes Gutenberg. This invention allowed for text to be mass-produced, encouraging even greater communication to the masses. Since then, the processes of the printing press has largely stuck to its core competency of providing information to the masses via physical mediums such as paper. Nevertheless, print technology faces challenges in the modern context. Firstly, its requirement of a physical medium ultimately limits the speed at which information can be dispersed. Secondly, production of paper has been made so cheap that it has created an excessive wastage of paper that has impacted the environment drastically. In subsequent years, signal technology has proven to be a more efficient means of communication.
Compared to print technology, signal technology allows greater ease in communication to the masses. Furthermore, communication across borders became quicker. The reduction in paper consumption is also beneficial to the environment. Using with encoding and decoding formats, transfer of information through waves without the use of an electrical conductor became possible. Hence, wireless communication was born. One vital invention in 1844 was the telegraph by Samuel Morse. It transmits electric signals over wires between two locations that translates into a message. Despite its decline, the telegraph laid the groundwork for the telephone, fax machine, and internet. So how exactly does signal wave technology work? As seen in this diagram, each section of the radio communication frequency is known as a band, and these channels are usually marked based on their purposes. A point to note is that broadcast TV, FM radio, and navigation devices are allocated in non-overlapping frequency ranges. However, signal technology has its restrictions. For example, there are also regulatory complexities where national organizations such as Ofcom in the United Kingdom have to stipulate the purpose of each frequency range. Latency and quality issues arising from analog signals are significant drawbacks as well, leading to the rise of digital transmission which enabled communications in higher consistency.
The 1960s ushered in the start of the digital age, whereby digital transmission began to replace analog signals. Notably, the internet revolutionized the nature of communication. In 1969, the ARPANET was invented. Its transmission mechanism, packet switching, splits a message into pieces and sends them through multiple routes to another computer where they are joined back. Packet switching laid the foundation for the internet, and by 1994, the first commercial web browser Netscape was introduced. Today, the internet used together with smart devices enable us to communicate with one another via an array of platforms. An advantage of digital transmission over analog signals is minimizing loss in quality during transmission. In addition, the internet creates greater interconnectivity and facilitates transmission of information to wide audiences. Finally, video telecommunication allows for video chat and benefits users who are deaf or speech impaired.
Despite yet more progress in modern-day communication technology, there still exist some major issues which include addiction to smartphones, cyberbullying, and a lack of security. According to Straits Times, smartphone addiction is so pervasive that countries such as South Korea and China have set up treatment centers for young internet addicts. There's also been many reports of cyberbullying. It's of an increasing concern to schools, their learners, and parents, as victims are often distressed and vulnerable to depression and suicide. Another concern of communications technology is that of security. There has been a flourishing of electronic attacks in the domain of information and communication technologies. One notable example would be that of a recent hacking of Sony Pictures Entertainment, where a large number of files were stolen from its database. Such a loss of data is incredibly damaging to the company, as the information might be confidential and crucial for a company's survival. It is important to note that communication technology itself was not the cause of these issues. Rather, these problems will happen even without the existence of modern-day communication technology. For example, there was an addiction to games and television in the past, and also bullying occurring in schools. The arrival of modern-day communication technology simply changed the form of the issue to a more digitized configuration. That is not to say, however, that modern-day communication technology is without its benefits. Communication today is such that it only requires a single finger tap in order to send data almost instantaneously to others across the world. Indeed, the advantages of contemporary communication technology are myriad. It is the intent with which one approaches it that might corrupt the original purposes of its users, and thus lead to the issues mentioned earlier. We have reached the end of our presentation. Thank you.